What cereal company makes Rice Krispies? Kellogg's. Correct. What ABBA song begins Can You Hear the Drums?
Remember.
Correct. Which French post-impressionist painted the hibiscus tree? Gauguin. Correct. How was Mary Queen of Scots executed? How? With an axe. Correct. What group sang the theme song to the film Georgie Girl? Oh, The Seekers. Correct. What unit of time is 1/24th of a day? An hour. Correct. In 1983, which Swedish tennis player retired at the age of 26? Bjorn Borg. Correct. Vancouver Island is part of what Canadian province? British Columbia. Correct. 3 attempts to push back 2 executed, caught with 13 seconds remaining. Hamish, how do you feel?
Bit disappointed. Here's no better.
Kathy?
I think we did too badly. Bit of a shame.
Stephen?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm happy to have met Anne.
Oh, that's nice. And Marjorie?
We've had a great bout. It's been really good. You know, we're unlucky.
Yeah. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed playing alongside you. However, to take away the £12,000 to tell you that Marjorie, Stephen, Kathy and Hamish, you have been caught, and for you the chase is over. Chaser.
Yes, relieved. I mean, 18 certainly can be a good target, but frankly, you should set me a bit more.
Yes,
That's a lot, really.
so, Chaser is on form. Could you take money from the Chaser? Well then, please, come and find your form if you think you're clever enough. We'll see you next time on The Chase. Goodbye.
Tonight on One News, Donald Trump facing impeachment and banned from Twitter for good over his handling of the Capitol Hill violence as this shocking new video is released. London's mayor declares a major incident. The spread of COVID now out of control. What's been blamed for the UK's deadliest day since the pandemic's peak? Plus, think again if you're wanting a summer dip. In Auckland, frustration as health warnings put a dampener on peak swimming season. Some spots deemed unsafe until next year. Heidi Mai, welcome to One News. There's mounting pressure on US President Donald Trump to resign or risk impeachment over the deadly riot at the US Capitol. It comes as disturbing new footage shows a policeman appearing to be crushed during the violence. He can be heard screaming for help as rioters push through the door. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today calling the president unhinged, consulting a top general to ensure Trump can't initiate hostilities or order a nuclear strike in his remaining 12 days in office. Our US correspondent Anna Burns-Francis joins us now from New York. Anna, another extraordinary day.
That's right, Melissa. Now, you might not have heard much from the president himself because late this afternoon he was indefinitely suspended or banned from the social media platform Twitter, his preferred choice of communication, of course. But the calls are coming hard and fast for the president to be impeached, not from the president-elect, incoming President Joe Biden. He's decided to stay out of that issue, but there are plenty of Democratic senators and now Republicans as well calling for the president to be impeached before January the 20th. It's a high bar. It would require 2/3 of the Senate, and it's not known if they have those numbers yet, but that's not the only bad news on the way for Donald Trump.
An angry mob, relentless and baying for blood. The police outnumbered and under attack inside the Capitol building 2 days ago. This officer crushed by rioters, pinned between a riot shield and a metal door. He survived that day. 5 other people did not. But from the man inside the White House, no acknowledgement of the chaos, anarchy and consequences of the attack. The president has hunkered down, waiting out his final days, his house of cards crumbling.
I believe President Trump should resign. I believe if he doesn't resign, I believe he should be impeached.
Banned indefinitely from Facebook and now Twitter as well. But not before announcing the attending the inauguration of Joe Biden.
What did you think you resign? It's a good thing I'm not showing up.
The man with the nuclear codes not trusted with social media reports tonight that Republicans have begun discussing invoking Article 25, declaring the president unfit.
This is urgent. This is emergency of the highest
magnitude. Even if ultimately unsuccessful, the chorus calling for Donald Trump's impeachment is growing louder.
Start impeachment proceedings immediately. Donald Trump is a danger to his country. He needs to be removed.
The inauguration of the 46th president is less than 2 weeks away. Impeachment against the 45th could start as soon as Monday. Mr. Trump would be the only president to face impeachment twice. His loyal followers, angry at Republican lawmakers who abandoned the president after his rally speech right before the insurrection.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
There's talk federal investigators are looking at whether the president could be charged with inciting violence.
The president certainly could try to pardon himself. The real question is, would that pardon actually shield him from criminal prosecution?
It appears he won't be hanging around to find out. Mr. Trump is due to fly to his Florida resort on his last full day in office. Flags at the Capitol building are flying at half-mast in honour of the police officer who died from injuries after the attack. Today, the FBI moving to arrest those seen storming Congress, including a local politician from Virginia. The ABC's Pierre Thomas with more.
Federal authorities are determined to leave no stone unturned, wrapping up efforts to bring all the Trump supporters who desecrated the Capitol to justice.
I'm in her office.
Richard Barnett, the man with his feet on a desk in Nancy Pelosi's office and who admits on camera to stealing from her,
I put a quarter on her desk.
arrested today in Arkansas for multiple federal offenses. Also charged Lonnie Kaufman. Authorities claim they found in his truck near the Capitol an arsenal for arson. These 11 Molotov cocktails, along with handguns and an M4 carbine assault rifle like this one. And FBI officials announcing they arrested West Virginia State Delegate Derek Evans, who live-streamed his breach on the Capitol. The FBI and U.S. Marshals hunting dozens more, including this man, suspected of planting pipe bombs at the nearby RNC and DNC headquarters. Trump supporters spraying police with chemicals and feeding them with bats and metal pipes. Right-wing groups posting their sinister plans on social media for weeks. Inside the Capitol, rioters seen wearing shirts bearing slogans praising the Holocaust. And tonight, a federal murder investigation is underway into the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. Authorities trying to find out whether he was hit with a fire extinguisher or other heavy object. Sicknick's brother writing, after a day of fighting for his life, he passed away a hero. But as the chaos died down, protesters seen filing out calmly. The critical question, why weren't they arrested?
Okay, Anna is back with us now. And those rioters, why weren't they arrested on the day?
Yes, that will be one of the questions that investigators will obviously be looking into, and there'll be plenty of people, the public and senators, demanding an answer to that. However, it does seem like they are finally taking action now. Of course, there's a lot of talk that they were not only under-resourced but denied resources on the Capitol in advance of those riots. Look, we were staying at a downtown hotel in DC and we saw plenty of police visiting both yesterday and today. We were staying there alongside a number of Trump supporters at the hotel. So they will be taking action, but how far that goes, you've seen some arrests already. There'll no doubt be more to come. Of course, the FBI has set up a website showing photographs from plenty of the footage that was posted online by Donald Trump supporters themselves. A lot of it swiftly removed since. They've already had 17,000 tip-offs. A lot of people dobbing in their own friends and family. There'll be one person everyone's watching to see come to the attention of federal authorities. Of course, that's the president himself. The draft of that impeachment claiming that the president has incited the insurrection.
And one of the big points of today was that Donald Trump's Twitter account has been suspended, but it seems there's no keeping the president away from it.
Yes, you've got to say this is probably Donald Trump's biggest day on the social media platform, but he wasn't around to see it. He did take a while to accept that Twitter ban. It was from his personal account, the real Donald J. Trump. He then tried to tweet from the POTUS account, the President of the United States Twitter account. That was swiftly deleted as well, as were the tweets sent from the Trump campaign Twitter account. We did see with the initial Twitter suspension a couple of days ago that some staff of Donald Trump took on putting out messages on his behalf. They either haven't been asked to yet or they've politely declined so far. Of course, Donald Trump could choose to issue a statement in the same format that every other previous president has chosen to do so, which is through the official White House channel, but no communication forthcoming yet.
Ngā mihi nui. Anna Vince Francis, live from the North tonight. The UK has reported its highest daily COVID-19 death toll since the pandemic began, with London declaring a major incident. More than 1,300 people have died in the past day, and there's also been a record number of new cases, more than 68,000. London is currently being hardest hit. The city's mayor saying the situation is out of control. 1 in 20 people are now infected in some areas, with a 35% jump in hospital admissions since April's peak. As Jenny Saw reports, the health system is overwhelmed. These are the UK's so-called theatres of war.
It is relentless. Patient after patient after
Can you
patient.
spare a
They take
couple
a long
more?
time to get better.
Two more?
They're the sickest
Well, they're in
patients
there.
I've ever seen.
Oh.
There is no respite here, no time to waste, no staff to spare. In London, COVID-19 has a chokehold on the National Health Service.
We don't have to declare a major incident today.
Well, there's still another fiction there.
Is at risk of being overwhelmed.
Past major incidents include 2017's Grenfell Tower fire and the terror attacks at Westminster and London bridges. The declaration will fast-track help for the NHS, with a frontline so stretched, dental specialists have been called into intensive care.
In some cases, medical students or nurses from other areas, and even hospital consultants.
As the UK is ravaged by a far more contagious variant of COVID-19, a study shows less than half of its adults formed a bubble over Christmas. In the week that followed, coronavirus cases rose by almost a third. But there's no time for finger-pointing. With a lag between infection and hospitalisation, the cases and deaths are sure to keep surging. Hospital staff are preparing for the biggest challenge the NHS has faced in its history.
Things are very intense. The patients are very poorlier than we've probably ever seen them, and in bigger numbers than we've ever had them.
Backup is coming. The UK's approved a third vaccine for use, the US-made Moderna. But there's a catch.
This vaccine in volume will come on board next spring.
Spring isn't until March, and with a COVID crisis worsening day by day, the UK must first survive one of its darkest winters yet. Jenny Saw, One News. The Pfizer vaccine has been shown to work against two of the more contagious COVID variants. The mutant strains were discovered in Britain and South Africa. While scientists say the finding is encouraging, they caution there are many mutations of the virus. The Pfizer jab is currently being used in the UK. New Zealand has purchased 1.5 million of them. As the country enters its peak swim season, some Aucklanders have been left risking their health with dozens of beaches deemed unswimmable. Auckland Council says work's underway to clean its waters, but others say they're frustrated at how long it's taken. Here's Emily van Veldhoven.
While the water looks cool and refreshing, these swimmers could be putting themselves at risk.
Walked into the water before and it was really sludgy, so we just decided to stay on the beach.
It would be nice if you could swim in it. A look at the council's Safe Swim website this morning showed more than 20 beaches in the region classified as red alert. This happens when bacteria found in animal and human feces is detected in the water. It means people shouldn't be swimming.
If you had an open sore or an open wound, that could become infected. You could get infected through your eyes, ears, nose, and if you swallowed water, you could get gastroenteritis, so nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea. Pretty unpleasant.
Hobson Bay in Oraki is one of the worst contaminated. Work's underway to make it swimmable, but some of that won't start until 2026. In some cases, beaches just 1 kilometre apart have different alert levels. This morning, people were advised not to swim at Little Manly, but could at Stanmore Bay.
I don't understand how one beach can be open and then right round the bay it can't be open, so...
That beach may not have the same flushing effects and tidal and other effects as the beach adjoining to it.
It's a problem that's been around for a long time. Probably many councils after councils have possibly ignored the problem or didn't know the problem was there. And with the growth of the city, it's really exasperated the whole thing.
This ocean swim organisers felt the effects of the city's water quality, having to cancel events last minute.
With a country like ours, New Zealand, we're clean green. It's not a good image, and it's something that I think needs to be a priority.
It's an issue that all urban communities in the world face. There's a massive amount of financial investment that's going in to resolve the problem at the moment.
The advice: check the Safe Swim website before you head in. Emily Van Veldhoven, One News.
A popular Coromandel beach was forced to close this afternoon after several sharks were spotted near the shore. Swimmers were ordered out of the water at Pauanui just after 1 p.m, which is about an hour's drive north of Waihi Beach, the scene of a fatal shark attack on Thursday. Police have named the victim as 19-year-old Kayla Marlowe from Hamilton, who died as lifeguards and emergency services worked frantically to save her. Eyewitnesses say she'd been swept offshore in choppy conditions when the shark attacked. Saddened but not surprised. That's the reaction of water safety advocates to a spate of deaths this weekend. As well as the fatal shark attack, one Auckland man died at a beach trying to save a group of children. But the other fatalities happened at lakes, prompting fresh warnings. Kristen Hall reports.
The rough surf at Auckland's Kareoitahi Beach proved fatal this week for a father trying to save 7 children. 46-year-old Revel Douglas was a well-known figure in the equestrian scene. His family says he'll be sorely missed after he drowned on Wednesday.
They're just doing their best by their kids, and I can totally understand that. Their heart goes out to those people because it's the ultimate tragedy.
It's one of several water-related tragedies this week, including 3 at lakes. A 4-year-old girl died at Lake Rotokawa in Rotorua on Monday. The next day, an 18-year-old drowned at Lake Arapuni, and on Wednesday, another, this time at 2 Mile Bay in Taupo.
Lake fatalities are less common than deaths at rivers and beaches. Since 2009, 50 people have died at lakes, 169 at rivers, and there have been more than 200 beach deaths.
People need to know when they're at lakes, that the water is cold. So, you do have to behave slightly differently.
She'd like to see lifeguards at lakes like at our busy beaches.
It's a complex issue because, you're dealing with different councils.
I think it makes a lot of sense, especially lakes that are busy.
Swimming New Zealand wants the government to boost swimming education in schools.
There's simply not enough money to go around. I've got a team around the country, and this year we'll get to about 200,000 kids, but it's not enough.
With plenty more people in New Zealand this summer, surf lifesavers are noticing an increase in swimming outside the flags and taking pool toys to the beach.
And they're having lots of fun, and when their feet are off the ground, the wind takes over and they get blown out to sea very quickly.
A reminder that our beautiful waterways can be deadly. Kristen Hall, One News.
By Akine, after the break, a Melbourne woman infected with the UK variant flew into Queensland several days ago. The race to find her close contacts as Brisbane's sudden lockdown moves into day 2. Will local visitors be enough to sustain tourism hotspots as COVID continues to stop international travellers? Plus, forget soft drinks and chips, how even vending machines are helping to fight the COVID pandemic.
Check back in to the hotel to the stars.
I didn't want to take anything because I'm older and wiser. 19 days older. That's the entire lifespan of a wasp.
In the smashing sequel.
I couldn't resist the old crumbling ruins and to see how the hotel was doing as well.
Your Saturday, film on One.
Lord have mercy on my ovaries.
I'm a hero writing a book. It's been kind of a dream.
Any other dreams I can help you with?
The second best exotic Marigold Hotel tonight on One.
Refresh your home this summer at Farmers. There's 50% off Sleepyhead beds. Get 20 to 40% off selected furniture.
Big pieces of fish.
Yes.
which is good, really, isn't it? I wonder if Trump will be impeached. It would be nice if he is impeached.
Maybe he'll just resign.
Supposedly he can pardon himself.
Well, that was a very nice tea.
Oh dear. Oh no, I might not know where to go for the Diatec, the Leviathan. Oh no.
This starts tomorrow.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith.
Remains in lockdown tonight with a second community case of the highly contagious UK variant of COVID-19. Queensland health officials are now tracing the contacts of a woman who flew in from Victoria with the virus. Ryan Boswell reports.
Brisbane streets are deserted as the city of 2 million wakes up to lockdown. Police patrolling what are normally busy highways looking for lawbreakers. And masks are mandatory for those needing healthcare, food and a test.
We're at the same shopping centre as the woman who got, so we're just getting tested just to be safe.
The woman, a hotel cleaner who has the highly contagious UK strain of the virus, sparking the urgent stay-at-home order. Now there's a second case.
She's also positive to this UK strain.
After flying from London to Melbourne on Boxing Day, the woman was tested while in hotel quarantine.
She was found to be positive, so she was then isolated and did the 10 days required isolation, cleared all her symptoms and was allowed to leave Victoria and fly to Queensland.
She then travelled to Queensland's Sunshine Coast to stay with her parents, not realising she still had the virus. Health officials now promising to check every test for the new variants and retest before release where necessary.
So that's why we're now following through with her contacts. The risk is extremely low, very, very, very low, because she is right at the end of her potential infectious period.
But still, anyone from Greater Brisbane entering New South Wales is asked to get tested and isolate.
Essentially, we want people to just be on the journey with us, but there will also be orders backing that in, and there'll be fines available to be enforced if people breach those orders.
It came as a shock to some flying out.
No, seriously? Oh, no, I had no idea. I heard they were going into lockdown.
Authorities hoping the streets stay empty to help track the virus before it spreads too far. Ryan Boswell, One News.
A Californian university has turned to vending machines in a novel approach to battle the spread of the virus. Up to a dozen machines on the UC San Diego campus have been stocked with test kits which students can use to conduct a nasal swab on themselves. They then register the tests on their mobile phones.
And to make it more accessible and to basically reduce the friction of testing, we have this notion of vending machines. They are an amazing innovation, simple, effective, and impactful.
After use, the swabs are dropped off in nearby bins, and the test results are available within 24 hours. Calls today for Aotearoa to be bold when it comes to growing our economy in a COVID world. The tourism industry has been greatly affected by the pandemic's restrictions and wants the new year to bring fresh ideas. Here's Jared McCulloch with more.
From the north to the south, Kiwis have been heeding the call to get out and explore our backyard to help our struggling tourism sector. But it's a new year and some in the industry want a new approach.
It's time for us to be smart, risk-assessed, bold actions. I think that's the way to go.
Our borders have been closed to international tourists for nearly 10 months.
Starting to open for all parts of the sector, not just tourism, but education and business, and of course families being able to connect more.
We know what we're dealing with now, so I think we've got to really take the bull by the horns and deal with it.
Opening up is likely to happen in stages, with the Trans-Tasman bubble one of the government's first priorities, something KJet's owner believes can be done easily and safely.
I think the government should be doing something like a negative COVID test before they depart for New Zealand. We should be treating it pretty seriously.
Tourism Holdings Chief Executive says the Aussies could bring a major economic boost.
That would see us have months and months of good activity. Potentially that would be enough to see us through to a fully vaccinated population in New Zealand.
He says it's not just travel bubbles we should be looking at. He wants the country to be trying to attract wealthier individuals.
It brings talent and it brings capital. So if the government is open to it, we can always benefit from more of.
The government says it's constantly assessing border controls and looking for opportunities to loosen them. Jared McCulloch, One News.
Kiwi conservationist Pete Bethune could be walking out of hospital tomorrow after being bitten by one of the most venomous snakes in Costa Rica almost 2 weeks ago. The 55-year-old was deep in the jungle when he stepped over a deadly fer-de-lance snake which struck him in the calf. It took him 3 hours to crawl to a beach where the Coast Guard took him to hospital. There was so much venom in his body, doctors had feared the worst. But today Mr Bethune says he's free to go pending one last test result.
But I'm happy to report that I think unless there's something untoward turns up in these tests today, I'm going home tomorrow. And I'm pretty happy about that too.
Mr Bethune says he plans to stay in Costa Rica. Me Utoni Mai, stay with us. Training every day for a job you may never need to do. The elite team of airport firefighters, why many of them can spend a career waiting for disaster on the runway. Plus, Facebook famous and the subject of a book. A unique Kiwi is farewelled.
And the skies are looking fairly settled as we cruise into Sunday. However, some may get an afternoon thunderstorm or two. I'll have details for you after sport.
It's game on. This is it. Time to find out who the challenger for the Prada 36th America's Cup will be. 3 teams battle to see who will take on Emirates Team New Zealand. We have been taken through the full spectrum of
Hello, sister. How's your day been? Did you go to a movie? What was it? What was it? A dog. Yeah. Well, I went to a movie that made me cry today too. Yeah. Four of us, Eleanor drove. We went down to Petone and we saw one called Spread Your Wings. It was about a man that was passionate to save a line of geese. And so he had this great brainwave to take the geese, make them follow him way up north. Well, he got the eggs and he hatched them, and he and his son talked to them and encouraged them to think of them as the parents, and to be afraid of other humans. It's hard to explain, but anyway, they got in for trouble way up in the most northern part you can go to, and they didn't have proper permission, but the son, who was 14, he hopped into the microlight and all the geese followed him, and he kept on and on and on and on, and eventually he got right back to where they started. He had about 5 or 6 times when he stopped and fed the geese and fed himself, and it was just electrifying. It was so nice to go to a movie. There was no except a bit of swearing, but you get used to that. But it really was electrifying, and most of it was in French, which was good for Campbell. And we had what do you call it, subscripts, or yeah. Oh, it was just, I was on the edge of my seat. Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you had a nice movie too. It certainly cheers up the day, doesn't it? And Andy, we can't. Oh yes, he's very fluent. He did it for his degree. He got to stage 3 French. Yeah. We can't swim in our bay. Yes. So after the movie, Shirley next door took Campbell down to the pool, and they swam in the pool. So that was really good for Cam. That Te Rauparaha.
I need to go poo.
Yeah. He came back and he sat in the armchair in the lazy boy, and he went absolutely dead asleep. And he was snoring like an old pig.
How disgusting.
Yes. Oh well, tomorrow's Sunday.
Oh.
So go to church. Oh, I'm so glad they're trying to impeach Donald Trump.
Really? region under threat. Let's attack the Labithian. Come on.
Like that.
I'm gonna go piss.
Yes, there was one woman was shot by the police, but there was a policeman who got stuck in a door, and the mob didn't listen to his cries of help, and he got strangled, kind of. And then there were 3 other women who No, this is what happened when Donald Trump's supporters all stormed the Capitol. There were 5 who died. Yeah. Well, it's a lovely evening. Okay. Bye.
She had her own Facebook page and was the subject of a book by Joy Cowley. Hayley is here with our sports news and good news.
So that's my salvation.
Australian cricket captain. Yes, well,
let's go and visit Off Stumpo.
We've got that and
Off Stumpo was a big, strong base, but now it's not. Time for some more coke.
Adams putting shot all over Christchurch. And a French Division 2 rugby player finds the circle of life leads him straight to the sin bin.
They've got the charm.
Hello, gorgeous Joel.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So there's stuff in here. We could do a whole lot more. Oh, it's all in German. Kriegsbündnisse, 23 hours. Kriegsbündnisse. Alrighty. We're in Germany now. Speaking German. Benutzen. I really need to go poo. I just say that in German. Nachrichten. You should stay away from my lines. I don't go anywhere near it. Angriff. So we're going to attack Mr. Leviathan. Oh no, is there only 21 soldiers? Oh my god. Oh, this is... I think I've been Creek. Oh, I've got heaps of money. I shouldn't have any money problems. How's the bank? 6 hours away from getting more money. Or guilt, as they say in German. I want to go piss. We need more. Let's go and get, I think we're all attacking the... It doesn't show. When you're attacking the Leviathan, it doesn't show. Righty-ho. Kirsten. That means cases. Spezial Ressourcen. Where's the resource? Oh, please. Heimatfrontstoffen Belohnungen. Isn't that amazing? So long. Yeah. Yeah means no. We're going to bring it to an end. Oh, I wonder if we can... Oh, golly. Mr. Fontaine. Gonna go poo-poos. Time to go poos. Juan. I swear I've done that before. Gonna do a poo-poo. I think I really should stop now.